Donald Trump adds a new addition to his defense team. We're going to be learning about a gentleman seen here known as Kise. He's joining the Trump defense team. He's joining Alina, Abba, James Trustee, Lindsey Halligan, Evan Corcoran. And so we're going to learn more about him. Then we'll check in at the docket, Donald Trump versus the United States. He's got a new motion that got filed today. It actually came from the government prosecutors. They want more pages to respond. And then we've got a very interesting clip from a guy named Mike Davis, who I'd encourage you to follow over at Mr. DDMIA on Twitter. Got a very nice, succinct, sort of 2-minute summary of Trump's defenses. And so we'll take a look at that as well. But first, let's learn about this guy. Kise is the new addition to Trump's defense team. And I got a summary of this over from lawandcrime.com. And, you know, they're not big fans of Donald Trump. And so I like to go there when they are sort of doing a piece on Trump, because it's going to typically be kind of critical. But let's see what we can tease out here today. They say at Law and Crime, former President Trump has hired former Solicitor General and an ally of Ron DeSantis to join the legal team responding to the FBI raid. The attorney, Chris, did not immediately respond to an email or phone call, but he joins the Trump team. This comes after the judge said that they may consider appointing special counsel. And the Justice Department said that only a limited set of materials may actually contain attorney-client privilege. We talked about that yesterday. The judge, Alina Cannon, was a Trump appointee. I think she got appointed in 2020. Said that she would be inclined to grant the request, but now it may be moot. In other words, remember, they wanted the special master appointed so that they had somebody moderating the government's review of Melania's underwear. They don't want her rummaging through these FBI agents just rummaging through all of them. So they said somebody needs to make sure they don't get crazy over there, right? And slow down the library book processing. And they said, well, we've already rummaged through everything. We've already tried everything on. There's nothing else to try on. And so what do we need somebody to watch us to make sure we're not, abusing anything? And the judge said, that's a good point. Why would I appoint somebody if you've already tried everything on? So just as the legal observers have questioned about the delay, well, Kise served on DeSantis' transition team in Florida. He's known as the attorney who helped derail the campaign of Andrew Gillum in 2018. You remember what a weird story that was. DeSantis narrowly won that race after Kise publicized that Gillum got free tickets to Hamilton. And didn't he get indicted? Anyways, earlier this year, federal charged with wire fraud and lying to the FBI in an indictment. Kise successfully argued 4 cases before the Supreme Court of the United States and dozens of others before the Supreme Court of Florida, according to his biography. NBC News says that he's considering leaving the firm, Foley and Lardner, noting that certain firms have shied away from representing the former president. Now, by press time, and I got this too, his profile as a partner at the firm had been removed from the firm's website, which remains an archived form. So they got rid of him so fast, they said, oh gosh, delete him from the website. We don't want anything to do with it. Chris was a Democrat. He's running against DeSantis. Nobody had anything to comment on about this. But it was true. I actually went to go find this guy, and on his firm profile, this is what it looked like today. Not found. Foley and Lardner. Lardner. That's what a great name. Lardner. Foley and Lardner. LLP. We'll fight for you. So he was there, not found anymore, right? His bio has been removed, and they said, no, we don't. Who? Chris who? No idea who that is. But we can actually pull from the Wayback Machine. I went back and I actually found the profile from when he was there. Here's what it looks like, in fact. Christopher M. Kise, or Kise. Somebody says kind of looks like Tom Brady. Yeah. Here it says, he is an AV litigated partner concentrating on areas of major trials and appeals involving complex corporate and environmental white-collar defense issues. Successfully argued 4 cases before the court, filed more than a dozen briefs at the high court, Florida Supreme Court as well, trial and litigation experience, Florida's Solicitor General, the state's top litigator, counsel for Charlie Crist, general counsel to Rick Scott, and counselor to Ron DeSantis, man. So he's been all over the place. He serves as the co-chair of the appellate practice. He's also a member of the energy team. Also, man, this guy is like all over the place. He's got an eminent scholar chair at Florida State College, white-collar criminal practice, AV preeminent rating. All right, the best lawyer in America. Okay. Education. Where did he go to college? Did he go to Harvard? No. He went to Florida State, a real college, where he served as managing editor and article of the Law Review there. He received his undergraduate degree from the University of Miami in 1986. Yeah, where real people go to school. That's good. Let's see what else he's got for us here. There was another thing here. Yes, so here are some of the cases. All right, so as we said, these Supreme Court cases, man, back-to-back years. Woo! That's impressive. 2005, Supreme Court case. 2006, Gonzalez versus Crosby, Day versus McDonough, Lawrence versus Florida, 2007. 3 years back, and 2018. And the Supreme Court, 4 years back-to-back. Argued as counsel of record, man. That's pretty impressive. That's like going to the Super Bowl 4 times. That's pretty amazing. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. And then before that, 11th Circuit. So he's a heavy hitter. He's a good lawyer. Like no doubt about it. Been to the Super Bowl 4 times. You can't argue with that. Talking about Tom Brady analogies, you got one there. Now, of course, he joins the team. We've already learned a little bit about Alina Abba on the show. We've talked a lot about her. She is the managing partner at her own law firm, I believe. And actually, I think since the last time we spoke, she joined somebody. It used to just be her. Now she's got a partner over there. Managing partner, mid-sized law firm, corporate litigation, family law. Right? She got sort of dumped on by many people in the media. They're like, oh, what is she like? Represent like parking lot companies or something? Right? It's because she's better looking than them. And they get really offended when that happens. Let's see here. Post JD education, all over the place, prides herself on being involved in charitable organizations. Birth Haven, an organization for homeless pregnant women. What an amazing person. Let's see here. 2020 Women's Achievement Award by the Tri-County Scholarship Fund, and she provides private schooling for children in desolate areas of New Jersey. What an amazing woman. Just amazing. The defense attorneys are just the best in the world, aren't they? Let's see who else we have here. Look at this amazing individual. His name is James Trustee. Gosh, he's probably incredible too. Gosh, handsome as hell. James Trustee on Trump's team spent 28 years as a prosecutor. Ugh. All right, well, we won't hold it against him. Trustee brings extensive experience in white-collar litigation, matters involving RICO, Money Laundering Control Act. Says that the federal government is applying broad statutes, which is true. Jim offers an insider's view on how federal cases are built. Ooh, that sounds good. And he is ranked, he's a former prosecutor, and he's got a big career. 7 years in the DOJ criminal division, ultimately responsible for prosecuting regional and international cases. In addition to running the RICO review unit, he was in charge of establishing and promoting policies, all sorts of corruption cases, was the assistant U.S. Attorney General out of Maryland. He speaks at conferences. He does pro bono events. And he was appointed by the governor of Maryland to study the criminal gang statutes. Wow. All right. And so you can see a little bit more about James Trustee. And so he is also on the Trump team. Now, Trump has some other individuals out there as well. Of course, Lindsey Halligan and Evan Corcoran. We've talked about both of them, in particular, Evan. Evan was also representing Steve Bannon. In fact, I think that photograph may have been from the Steve Bannon trial, which we covered at length. For as lengthy as it was only like 4 days. But we did cover it. And so that is the makeup of the new team. You can see what a great looking group of people. Very handsome, very good looking people. A lot of intelligence there. And it looks pretty promising. We got an update in the case that Donald Trump is filed against the U.S. government. They are suing, sort of filing a complaint, demanding that the court appoint a special counsel. And the government responded here. You can see the docket update from August 29th says that there was an order granting the defendant's unopposed motion to exceed the page length. So this means the government, they said, Judge, 20 pages? We're going to need a lot more than that to get to the bottom of this. And the judge actually granted that. But let's take a look at their justification, why they wanted that additional space. This motion is 3 pages, filed August 29th, Donald Trump versus the United States of America. Government prosecutors are asking for more pages. They want more room. Typically, when you're writing a government essay, you want less room, but they want more. United States unopposed motion to exceed the page length. They write, all right, Judge, in accordance with the local rules, U.S. seeks permission from the court to go over 20 pages in our response to Trump's original complaint on docket entry 1 and docket entry 28. And they say, we can't do this unless we get your permission, Judge, and so here's why we need it. On August 22nd, Trump filed a 21-page motion for judicial oversight and relief. In his motion, Trump said, among other things, that we need a special master appointed and we need our property returned. The following day here, this court, Judge, you ordered us to file by August 26 a motion addressing the ambiguities, and we responded. Now, government and Trump filed a 10-page supplement. Then on August 27th, we got a preliminary order from this court to respond by August 30th, which is, of course, to date. They write, the government seeks to file a response up to 40 pages in length to adequately address the legal and the factual issues raised by the plaintiff's motion and Trump's requests. The government has conferred with Trump and his lawyers, and the lawyers do not object to the granting of this motion. So the court should grant the government's motion, and a proposed order is attached, signed off on by Juan Gonzalez, who is the U.S. government prosecutor, who is appearing on the case opposing Donald Trump. So that motion, of course, is granted. So that's actually really good news for me and us. That means we're going to have 20 additional pages of stuff to talk about. Maybe that's not good news for you. Maybe 20 pages isn't enough for you. But I'll take another 20, okay? I can't help myself. I just like it too much. But we will take a look at that. Those are going to hit, this week. We'll see a whole slew of additional filings come out of the docket, and we'll go through them in detail. And I appreciate you subscribing and liking this video, making sure you're subscribed so that we see you back here. And finally today, we've got this amazing clip from this guy named Mike Davis. And I think this is sort of potato quality recording, but here it is. Now, Mike Davis for us is a former law clerk to a Supreme Court judge. His name is Judge Gorsuch. We've talked a lot about him here. One of the more recent judges to be appointed on the bench, a Trump-appointed judge. This guy evidently worked for him as a law clerk. And that's kind of a pretty prestigious position to be in. Clerking for a Supreme Court judge, it's like, being the personal assistant for the president, almost, right? It's really, really important job. And so he is going to be summarizing for us a very nice set of defenses that Donald Trump and his team are maturing as we speak. Remember, when we back up on this, there are really 3 main areas where Trump is sort of allegedly facing some criminal liability. One is obstruction of justice. The other is the Espionage Act. And the third is the Presidential Records Act. Now, what Mike Davis is going to walk us through is all 3 of those. And he's going to say that in order for you to have an obstruction charge, you've got to have an underlying criminal offense. Right? If you're obstructing an investigation into you stealing the candy bar, you actually have to have stolen the candy bar. Otherwise, if they're investigating you not stealing a candy bar and you don't obstruct that investigation, what are you obstructing? There's no underlying offense, right? And so that's what he's saying here. And I want to pay close attention to this because this is very succinct. This is a beautiful delivery. I couldn't have done it better myself. But he said, he walks us through this, if I wrote it, right? And he's sort of doing this off the cuff, very, very good here. And he walks us through that. Trump is immune under the Presidential Records Act because he has the ability to decide what is a record, what is personal, and what is not. Trump has the ability under Supreme Court precedent to declassify at will. And if there are no underlying offenses, how can you possibly have obstruction? Here is Mike Davis. I recommend you follow him on Twitter.
Has the absolute constitutional authority to declassify anything he wants for any reason he wants, and he doesn't have to get permission from any bureaucrat at the National Archives to do that. And that is confirmed by a 1988 Supreme Court case Department of the Navy versus Egan. So there goes the underlying potential charge for espionage that's in this that was in this warrant.
That's
second point. The president has the sole statutory authority to make the determination whether a record is a personal record that belongs to him or a presidential record that goes to the bureaucrats at the National Archives and then almost certainly gets sent back to the president to put in his former library.
Oh, what happened?
A judge related to Judicial Watch and Tom Fenton's lawsuits against President Clinton related to 8 years of audio tapes in his sock drawer. So what is left? They're looking at obstruction. Well, it is legally impossible for a former president to obstruct investigations into non-crimes. The Justice Department did not have the power to even look at these crimes because it doesn't matter what the evidence shows in this affidavit. No matter what that evidence shows, as a matter of law, it is legally impossible for President Trump to have committed espionage or to have violated some Presidential Records Act. The Presidential Records Act actually contemplates that former presidents have classified records. It doesn't differentiate. Congress gives former presidents office space, secure office space. They give the former president's staff security clearance, Secret Service protection to guard these paper records. And there's no allegation that any of these records got into the wrong hands, unlike Hillary Clinton's home server, where she had foreign governments hack the most highly classified secrets in our government, and she didn't get an FBI raid. So what was so urgent that caused the Biden Justice Department to go get these records? And I think it's because President Trump declassified and made personal a copy of his copy of the Crossfire hurricane records, the Russian collusion records, and the Biden Justice Department never made them public because they're so damning on Obama, Hillary, Clinton, the FBI, and the intel community.
Wow. So did you catch that at the end there? Why would they go through all of this? If they know that Donald Trump is immune, if they know that they can't get him under Presidential Records Act, it's not a criminal statute. And they know they can't get him under espionage because he has the ability to declassify. What are they going to try to get him on? Obstruction. For what? Not returning the library books when they were due. Very upset about that. Why would they go through all of that? It's the return documents that they want. It's that Crossfire hurricane document stuff that is floating around out there. Trump took it with him and they want it back. Very interesting theory sent out there by Mike Davis over on Twitter. Good follow and a very nice, succinct explanation. They give him like 2 minutes and he was able to just hammer it all home. And so that's Mike Davis giving us an update on, I think, a defense that Trump's defense is already using. They've already started to assemble the defense team, and they're going to be making new filings this week. We will, of course, cover those when they hit the docket. And I appreciate you subscribing wherever it is you're watching this so that you can follow and join us as we do that.